And we are live.
We here, ladies and gentlemen. What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
What
Welcome
up?
to the Woodward
Get it.
Pistons Table Talk. Guys, I think we'll keep this pretty quick. Relatively light news day in the NBA world. Not a lot going on in basketball. I'm just with you because holy, man, it was a day. It was
Oh,
a
man.
day of that when that Woj bomb hit at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Tell the people how you feeling, bro.
I literally sat there and went, "Holy!" Except there was no bleep. I said, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
That was a crazy trade. Because, all right, first of all, let's just
That's a great sound effect.
right off the bat, first thought was Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. Like that. There is something tantalizing to that. There's a whole lot more that we'll get into that with that in a little bit, like when more people roll in. But what I will say, the second thought was, man, the Knicks fumbled it again.
Death
Like
taxes.
the
is just
Knicks
that.
fumbled a star again. I will say though, there was one thing Woj dropped literally right before this went live. So there actually is some breaking news from this. So I'm going to share this tweet to the screen if you, when you're ready, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But according to Woj, the Knicks actually at the start of the trade talks in July offered a package that would have included RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 unprotected first round picks. And the Jazz turned it down. And so therefore, after the Jazz said no, they signed Mitchell Robinson to his extension. They signed RJ Barrett to that extension on Monday. Hey, by the way, Flagrant Elbow, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. Supporting Woodward Pistons. We appreciate the love, man. Just because you guys are late, I'm going to give you a super chat. Hey, man, listen. It's a busy time. It's a busy time. We're trying to set a lot of things up. We're getting a lot of things ready.
First day of college football.
My
people
power
over
came
here.
on. Yeah, my power came on like an hour ago.
That was the
I
other
told
thing.
y'all, like, bro, I ain't got no power. I got a little bit of solar bank back. I was gonna be like rolling off the solar, hoping it didn't cut off, but power came on like an hour ago. So I'm grateful, man. God bless.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh, I'm glad
cool.
for
See you
you.
tonight. And then I was like, we'll see. I don't have power. I'm like, oh
That's
crap.
like a little hinder or something, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be something that makes it a little difficult to do a stream.
Man,
The lack
I
of
hope
power.
Yeah, and I hope everybody without power still, man. I hope they get it back. I do. I drove to see some friends in Detroit. They don't have power in large parts of Detroit, man. No street lights, still businesses.
Still today.
Yeah, today.
Wow.
Literally today. So, everybody that's struggling, that's still dealing with it. I know there's a lot of people down south as well. I got some family dealing with the flooding, with the water, unsafe drinking and all that. So just anybody that's dealing with anything, man, definitely. I'm hoping you get better. You're definitely on our minds, and sheesh, man. Hopefully, it's looking up for a lot of people. Our neighborhood is in blocks, like our power is on, but like across the street, like the block across the street is like literally no power still.
Yeah, we
Oh
are.
my gosh.
Yeah, we are hoping towards the season to start getting the streams back a little bit earlier to our more normal, regular schedule. However, just for now, we're going live when we can, just because that's how life works, man. And listen,
Yep.
the beauty of the table talk is that it comes around and goes around and is here whenever we need it, right? And the beauty of it is, if you can't join us live, you can always tune in afterwards and pull it up on Woodward
Definitely.
Pistons YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should definitely be subscribed to. If
What
you're
else should
not,
they subscribe to, bro?
what else should they subscribe to? They should subscribe to From Half Court, another great Detroit Pistons NBA content channel that would be a great addition to your portfolio, I might add. But
I like that, man.
I will say there's some new things and some stuff we got cooking up for From Half Court that all I'm gonna say. I sent it to Kool-Aid today. It's fire. Lexi, I'm
Nice.
about to send it to you right now. Don't
Okay.
even say what it is. And I want to just get your reaction to it on stream just to prove how fire it is. That's how proud I am.
All right.
So,
Stay tuned, everyone. I'm looking.
yeah. So all I'm going to say, man,
He's been hitting the gym.
we got
No.
some stuff. We got some stuff cooking. So with that, man, first of all, how dare I not get it? Which, by the way, Lexi, I think she just saw it.
I did. It is. I love it.
Badass,
Love it.
right?
It's
I
dope.
love it.
We talked about it earlier. I was like,
It's perfect.
it's clean.
When are you revealing it?
We're not even going to say what it is yet. All I'm going to say, expect a cool thing on opening day. That's all I'm going to say. Just expect something cool.
Yeah,
on
you guys
opening
are
day.
in for a treat.
Carl.
Yeah.
Shout out, Carl. Man. Hey, shout out to our whole Table Talk crew. King, Deuce. Deuce might be able to stop in tonight. Carl, he said he's on call tonight. You know, it's like life happens, guys. Life happens.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that life is happening for us, man. I really am.
Yeah. And hey, good things are going to be happening. I promise you, brother. I mean, all good stuff coming.
This season. It's gonna be
dope. Yeah, this season's going to be great, man. I really do feel like this is like it's going to be big for us personally. It's going to be big for us professionally. It's going to be big for us as a fan base. It's going to be big for us as, like, even though, like, obviously, like, Kool-Aid, you and I still consider ourselves fans of the team, but also, now us covering the team to the extent that we will be this year, to a different capacity. I'm excited, man. It's just going to be a good season. Ladies and gentlemen, downtown Deuce is in the mother.
Hold on, bro. You rolling in with the buffs when I
what
don't
up, y'all?
What you rolling in with the buffs when I don't even have mine within like reach?
Oh, come on, man.
I gotta go grab my glasses, guys.
Come on. What up, fam?
I need to.
Dude, coming in buffed up.
What's going on, y'all?
Bro, you must have saw that trade, man.
I ain't think about Donovan Mitchell, man.
Let's talk about it, shall we?
Into it.
Let's get into it. So, Donovan Mitchell traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Talked a little bit about like our reactions to it earlier, like how shocking it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think we'll get into the Cleveland Cavaliers and what this means for them in a second, because I think the first thing everyone thinks is, my first thought after everything too was, oh my God, we have to play Donovan Mitchell 4 times a year with this roster. And I think everyone started thinking, what does this mean for the Pistons? And I was telling Kool-Aid, dude, earlier, it was like, oh my God, the sky is falling. Like we were going to start tanking this year. Like all of a sudden, like our entire year was chalked. Like there were people saying that we weren't going to build anything better than Cleveland. Like there was just like, it's honestly like everything happens, like whatever happens whenever a Woj bomb goes out, the overreactions are just rampant. People automatically are putting Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. People are automatically saying that we should be going for Victor Wembanyama this upcoming draft. And there's a lot of emotions and a lot of different thoughts. Here's what I'll say before we get this conversation rolling, and before I turn it over to the other people on this table talk, because I do got to shut my mouth because I've been talking for a minute. But here's what I'll say. I'm still confident that the backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey has a higher ceiling than Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Even though Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are both current All-Stars, and Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham are projected to be future All-Stars, I think one thing that really goes towards our backcourt's advantage is the fact that they're both already great playmakers, but in addition, the defensive upside is objectively far higher in the backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, just with their size and with their physical gifts that they have. So that's where I go with the playmaking abilities that they have, along with their defensive upside. in my opinion, I'm still happy with what the Pistons have, and I don't think it changes anything about how they should view this season. So with that, Kool-Aid, my guy, what was your thoughts?
That's the thing. I think when you're looking at this thing kind of zoomed out and you're just thinking year after year after year, what have the Cavs done? Where's their team at right now? What success, kind of early success have they had? Bring back Gigi Tommy.
Damn it, Spencer.
What's up, Spencer?
I love that guy.
Spencer. Goodness gracious, bro.
I love me some Spenmo Rex.
Yeah. Jeez, man. It just threw me all off. But I don't know, man. When I first saw the trade, I was like, okay. You know, the Cavs, they were decent last year. They were good. They had I think the benefit of, you know, Jared Allen. Evan Mobley turned out to be somebody who could go right away. He wasn't, to me, world beater. You have to expect that he's going to take some steps forward. But when I look at their team, have they added as much talent over the last 3 years as the Pistons have? Now, I think that they have a few more spots that are a little bit more mature talent-wise, but Troy is going in and snagging 2 and 3 first-round picks that are looking like they're going to pan out to be good players, if not all-star level. Cade has already had the articles written last year that he's going to be the one that's going to be the MVP out of his draft class. I don't know if that's being said about anybody on Cleveland, save maybe Evan Mobley.
There's people that are saying, I heard someone say as much today that there's people that believe that Evan Mobley could be top 20 all time. And I'm like, what? I'm like, listen, man, I think he can be damn good. What? He's played 1 year, brother. Like, can we simmer down?
And he couldn't even back down Cade in the paint, bro.
Nope.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we talking about? That's, man, I swear, I think that it's just a case of, look.
I think it's just like the physical gifts that he has mixed with the skills that he has for a rookie. I think people objectively, when you're like, okay, if you're fantasizing about a player's future, which is the one that objectively looks the most terrifying in your imagination? The guy who's like 7 feet with the huge wingspan and extremely athletic, because that's what he is. He's the unicorn. Yeah. But in reality, how often do you see the unicorn pan out? Like 1 every 3-4 times? Look at that unicorn Kristaps Porzingis. How's he doing? Bullet to your head. What team is Kristaps Porzingis on? Thank you. It's the Washington Wizards. I know people probably know that, but
still. They're not even a real team, so
yeah. They have Bradley Beal, but that's about it. But yeah, no, it's but yeah.
Bro, somebody rescue Bradley Beal from himself, please. Get him out of there. Stop. Who is in his ear telling him, yeah, you want to stay here? Like, what in the world, bro?
Not only that, but he's like, I want a no trade clause. I want to be here all the time.
Doing what?
Jack Diddley.
Anybody in the comments, bro? Why does Bradley Beal want to stay with the Wizards? I don't understand that.
Want to know why? Because he got the bag. He got the bag. Big bone bag.
That's it.
Kristaps on the Knicks was sick, and then he tore his ACL. But Zeus, my man, when you saw that trade hit, when that Woj bomb blew up your phone, like I knew it did mine, what were your thoughts?
So, first of all, let me start by saying that I think Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are fine young players. They're great players. I want to get that out the way.
Super talented.
But one thing that I think we all need to just keep in mind, and I had a chance to kick it with Ashton earlier on live for a quick minute. We have one of the youngest teams in the NBA. We're not trying to contend next year, right? It's going to take time. Our trajectory is slow but steady. And our Detroit Pistons teams, when they won, were all built around what? Defense. So if I would much rather have a backcourt of size of Cade Cunningham, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and Jaden Ivey at 6'4", 6'5". You got Donovan Mitchell, you got Darius Garland. Both of those guys are 6'1". So give me that all day long. From a defensive standpoint, give me that all day long. That's something you can't teach. And from a defensive standpoint, I think they're going to struggle in the backcourt in Cleveland. And I think we have perfect size in our back. I don't think we've ever had this much talent and this much of a ceiling in our backcourt. From a size perspective,
No,
what do
bro,
we've
we
never
just
had guys
out
this
here
big.
playing 2K. These are the guys that you used to go and target in 2K, those 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" point guards. You know, it's like he's legitimately out here getting them, and they're panning, at least with Cade Cunningham. With what we're seeing out of Sadiq Bey, these guys, Isaiah Stewart, these guys are panning out. And that's what I mean. I feel like sometimes, goodness, I get the wins and losses. And I believe that this team could have won more games last year if two things happen. Injury bug doesn't hit them, and their purpose is to literally win more games. I believe that team wanted a top 5 draft pick, and I believe that that's what they played to. When I look at the players they have, I can't sit here and state Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey have no future at becoming an all-star, even within the next 1 or 2 years.
Right.
If think about it, like we sat here and we talked about what Cade Cunningham was the whole like after All-Star break and the games that he was really invested in, and they weren't pulling him out or he didn't miss. The Pistons were about 500, man, with him putting up stats of 22, like 6 and 7. I'm like, does that matter, or is it just because Donovan Mitchell and Garland are here? Now all of a sudden, Cade Cunningham is neutralized. Like he doesn't matter at all. Like I swear he went into Cleveland and beat them, bro, and defended like 4 positions that game. To go with what you were talking about, Sean, the defense. To go with what you were talking about, Deuce, and all of us really. And so it's like I look at him. I'm trying to hold off from putting too much stock in Ivy and Duran, but I believe in them boys. I really do. I'm trying to hold off. But are we discounting them? Are we discounting that the Cavaliers are not that much older than the Pistons?
I think what it is that Cleveland, and I felt this way before this trade even happened. We even talked about it this way. Even Dwayne Casey affirmed this during summer league interviews. Cleveland's a year ahead of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Cleveland last year is what Detroit wants to try and emulate this season. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to do it to the same extent because they had 2 all-stars last year. They had a guy in Jarrett Allen who was already a proven veteran.
To me, man, because we talk about them as all-stars, and it's like I would still rather have Cade than their all-star. I would
too. I'm just saying
Duran than their all-star and Allen.
No, I would too.
I don't know, man.
Well, I would too. All I'm saying is that there were factors that made that Cavalier team be able to have as much success as they did last year. And I just, even though I would rather have the Pistons players in the long term, I just don't think they're going to be able to be a 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference like Cleveland was at one point last year. Like that's just not going to happen.
No, not this year.
But what I will say is that you could still see Detroit take that leap this year. Still do, like, you don't have to have the leap where it's like Cleveland, where you just jump up like crazy in the standings out of nowhere, right? You could take a leap like what Phoenix did a couple years ago, where they went to the bubble, and even though they didn't make the playoffs, they ended on a great run. They showed what they were building. They showed the culture that they had. They showed that what they were doing was working, and at that point, they went and pulled the trigger. This time next year, Detroit is going to have $60+ million in cap space. There's going to be free agents. There's going to be guys available for trade. And so if the Pistons, even if we don't make the playoffs this year, and this is what people don't understand. Like, it's not saying that we have to like go for the playoffs versus like all or nothing like that, or we have to tank. Like, even if we don't make the playoffs this year, if we at the very least show that we took the next step and we're building something, at that point, it gives Troy Weaver the green flag to go and do something similar to what Cleveland did. But the difference is Troy Weaver is going to be the one making the trade. And I feel pretty damn comfortable that he's going to be the one going out and choosing which player that's going to be. So that's the situation. That's the reality is that I know people are looking at Cleveland right now and are scared. But the reality is,
I'm just not.
This doesn't change the timeline, man.
Bro. And it's simply because of the fact that Cleveland just went and did the jump that we are too apprehensive to say the Pistons can make. They went from 22 wins to 40-something wins. I believe the Pistons can do that this year. I am not predicting that, but I'm not sitting here looking at them swapping out some of the players that helped them get there for a guy in Donovan Mitchell who is good. He can score his tail off, but there's still some deficiencies. You're talking about rolling in a Pistons team this year who Man, look,
think
I get what we're supposed to say.
What I love about this team,
but the Cavs
I
are
love-
just not blowing me
Yeah.
away. Like, obviously, they're gonna be decent this year. They'll be decent next year. But why? Like, I don't know. I'm looking at the Pistons and I'm like, bro, I think that we are probably being a little too light on what they can be. If the Cavs, with who I believe had lesser types of players making a jump of that magnitude, I don't know, man. I do believe if Jalen Duren and Ivy show up just with a pulse to the degrees that we think they can, you got to watch out for this squad, man. Cade is a star. I'm not sitting here saying he's a guy we got to wait on 2-3 years. Cade's a star right now. Right now, he's a star. He will average over 20 and 5-5. He's a star, bro.
But I also think the East is just more deep this year than it was even last year. So all I'm saying is, like, even though I think they can take that leap, and I agree with you, and it can look similar, I just think you can't compare it to Cleveland's, because the fact that they were even at that point last year is like that was a crazy circumstance. Like, there were just things like that were unforeseen. Like, we had a team that was literally like a few games below 500 and was in the play-in tournament in January 1st in the finals in the Boston Celtics. Like, that's how weird of a season we had this last year.
We have to wait it though. That's the only thing I'm saying is Sadiq Bey is a baller. If he takes a marginal step forward,
that's where I was going.
Cade takes a marginal step forward. Isaiah takes a marginal step forward.
Here's the thing too, Kool-Aid. Think about this.
Are all rookie team.
Think about this too. All these guys on this team, all the guys on this team, there's not one guy out of our core who you say, oh yeah, we know what he's going to be as far as ceiling. This team is so young. There isn't one guy where you're like, oh yeah, he's maxed out. We don't know how really good any of these guys are going to be. And that's why I think we just need to sit tight and evaluate this season. I think a lot of these guys are going to take a much bigger jump than we expect. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Now, here's what I will say. Here's what I'm comfortable saying. The Central Division is the best division in basketball again.
Yeah.
It is the deep, even if they're not all the best teams right now, in the next year or two, you're looking at a possible division with Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday, which you never know what the Bucks could do. You never know what moves they could make to change that roster. But the last time that roster was healthy, they won a chip, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you also have what Cleveland just built, which, let's be honest, that young core, as of right now, looks like it can cause problems and be towards the top of the East for years to come, right?
Yeah.
And then there's what we have in Detroit with Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. We have a pretty damn scary young core. And then there's Chicago with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, all those guys. And that's not even getting in the fact that we might get Victor Wembanyama with the Pacers next year.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, the Pacers. Jeez, I forgot
about even then, and they're going to be bad. Like, they're the worst team in the division, and they have Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin.
I'm about to say they're not trash, though.
Yeah, exactly. They're not scrubs. So, like,
but here's what I want to know: what does Lexi think?
I'm just sitting here like,
sorry, Lexi. I know what she thinks. Excited.
No, I mean, get in here, Lexi. I don't like how a lot of people were just kind of like rolling over, like, oh, it's over. Yeah, do I not want to play him 4 times a year? I'd rather not. That's the obvious thing. But like Carl even said in the comments earlier, like, Cleveland was ahead of us. So, like, they already were that next step. So we're still on pace. Like, we didn't fall off pace by them doing this. Everything is still in motion. The rebuild is still happening. It's not going to be, would I like them to be some great team this year? Of course I would, but I just don't have this expectation that's going to be some playoff national contender. You know what I mean? So next year and the following year from that, I am more comfortable where we are compared to them. So I love the core we have. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, it's good for him too to get out of Utah, I guess, but I just wish it wasn't going to Cleveland, but it is what it is. So
I feel like Cleveland, I feel like they made this trade for the same reasons why we're all sitting here kind of able to parse it, man. I don't think that they believed in the jump they took last year. If you go and you get a guy like a Donovan Mitchell, who is an absolute stud of a scorer, I'm talking about absolute. There's no question about who he is. Though, some of the young guys there, they might have had some question about sustainability. You know what Donovan Mitchell is going to be. I think that cements their position rather than being able to have any aspect of regression or other teams being able to improve and pass them up, even though they had a good season last year. And so when I look at it and when you make a trade like that, it's either going to work out great or it's going to work out terrible. We've seen the Pistons try to make trades like that on the fly to cement their status going forward. And it seemed like every single time it's worked out terribly. I think the Blake Griffin trade was, I don't know how we even call that. I mean, was that good for a year and then just kind of
listen? It was necessary. It was necessary troubles and tribulations that it caused us to go through. It's like the necessary evil that you need to live with. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to Flagrant Elbow. He made a great point. They gotta guard us too.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are both 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna guard Cade?
What was their matchup last year?
It's gonna be. Man.
Well. Here's the other thing.
It's gonna be barbecue chicken in the post for Cade. He can post up either one of those guys all day long.
I'm not worried about.
Here's the other thing too. Like it's not like we haven't seen Donovan Mitchell play with an elite big before. Like we've seen him be able to play. Like one of the big problems with the Jazz last year,
bro.
One of the big problems with the Jazz last year, and I was even saying this to Kool-Aid before. I think I was a huge Donovan Mitchell fan after year one. I thought it was the reincarnation of D Wade. I really did. I was drinking the Kool-Aid on Donovan Mitchell. But I think even though I love him, I think people have stopped paying attention to some of his performances past his bubble year. Because I think if you look at the last couple of years, you look at the 2021 playoffs, the Utah Jazz were the number 1 seed. They were supposed to be like at least in the conference finals. That was the expectation for them. And they lost to a Clippers team without Kawhi Leonard. And they both played poor basketball. And here's the thing. Their defense is a liability, not just because of their size, as this person brings up, but here's the reality. Here's the reality of Donovan Mitchell. It's not just his size. He doesn't want to play defense. He doesn't want like that's the thing. If he wanted to, like there were reasons to believe that if he took that next step and took that accountability as a player, which Rudy Gobert reportedly said the same thing and was frustrated in part of why this all blew up, because he was frustrated and saying, hey, can guys at least stay in front of their guys so I don't have to bail out and go sell out? Because like Rudy Gobert, that Jazz team regressed defensively last year in a large part because of Donovan Mitchell. So that's the thing. They have that elite front court defensive, like Isaac Okoro's a great defender. Evan Mobley's a great defender. Jared Allen, they're all great defenders, right? But at a certain point, you need your front line to stay in front of these guys so that your back line doesn't have to sell out and get into foul trouble or let up wide open corner shots in the three. There's a reality where this isn't like roses and
that's what I'm saying, bro. Who's gonna guard them? So, who's gonna guard them?
Listen, man, you just gotta.
You can literally average 30
a few years. We got a few years.
You just gotta watch the game. You just gotta analyze
2024.
Right.
Yeah. And I had to put Raj's comment up there. I know that's our community troll. He just has come here. He's been a part of this since the beginning. We usually ignore him, but I think this might have been one of the first times we all agreed on something together. So
this is the first time he's actually said something coherent and made sense. And even then, he has misspelling in this. So
he's like, this person said it. I know you know this. Is this one of your nemesis? Kanye
He's
West?
not one of my nemesis. I don't care. I don't give a crap. Hey, listen, he's not one of my. You know what? Want to know why he's not much of a nemesis? Because at the end of the day, he's coming in and trolling us, and he's giving us that sweet ad revenue, baby. So appreciate it. But anyway, another thing. Can I? I know I said I'm talking a lot, but can I do my nerdy front office obsession thing really quickly with this trade?
Earl.
Okay. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you for letting me live my truth. I appreciate it. Okay, one of my big things. I am a nerd for front office and big picture NBA stories and narratives and things that to look at. Right. Mm-hmm. I said this to Kool-Aid before we hopped on the stream. I said this on the video that will be releasing tomorrow. If you're Danny Ainge of the Utah Jazz and you're looking at what first round picks you want to be getting in the NBA, there are 3 teams that come to mind. Obviously, the Sacramento Kings come to mind, but the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because historically, over the last 20 years, these teams have been picking at the top of the lottery, haven't done well with these picks themselves. And if you end up getting their picks, odds are you're going to end up picking in a pretty high spot. That's just the reality, right? Mm-hmm. He ended up getting a total of 10 first-round picks with either no protections or limited protections from 2 of those teams through 2029.
Bro,
so over the next 7 years, they already have 13 first-round picks. They're already approaching Oklahoma City level. They still have Jordan Clarkson on the roster, who they can still get assets for. They still have Bojan Bogdanovic on the roster, who they can still get assets for. They still have Mike Conley on the roster, who they could still get something for. So the reality is the Jazz aren't even done. And the reality is, like, if we're looking at these 2 situations, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, guys, let's be real about it. If we're playing the odds, one of these situations isn't working out. And let's be honest, it's probably Minnesota, but there's a chance it's Cleveland. And so, like, for Danny Ainge, like, which, by the way, if you're watching how Rudy was playing in France today, whew, man, gave up a lot of picks for that. Yeesh. But that's okay. Good job, Minnesota. But the ultimate point of it is, I get people are saying today that the Cleveland Cavaliers got a great trade. But just remember who's the man making this trade. It's Danny Ainge. And he did the same thing to the Brooklyn Nets 10 years ago when he traded Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, and in return got the picks that ended up being the rights for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, watch out and let's look at the long term of how this plays out. I am telling you, this could define the NBA for the next decade plus.
I like that.
It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. And you know, with the Pistons, obviously, if I have to go and bet on it, a year or 2 out. But I'm not. The more and more I continue to look at it, the more and more I hear these guys talking. Even some of the stuff I saw from the Rico Hines run, it's not that you believe these guys are going to be everything that they are. They're both either bad or good, but just seeing the aspect. Shot is killing me tonight.
Now, why is that?
I know, bro.
I just had my whole Brian Windhorse moment there.
I'm gonna let you get into it because I know you got words. I know you got words for this one, bro. I know you got words for this one. I know you got words for.
I got words for. I need to let other people talk. I apologize.
But it's like, you know, when we first saw those first 2 clips go out with Ivy, and everybody was really making snap judgments that he was going to be a bad player or this, I was like, what are you doing? Then all of a sudden, you actually see the Ball Is Life clips, and you're like, yo. He's doing a lot of the things we said he could do. That one dribble from the top of the key, split a defender and lay it up. It's just like, yes.
He is a blur, man.
Like, yes, man. Like, you could tell like exactly what he's going to be, man. He did that in college, show a little bit in summer league, show a little bit in the Rico Hines stuff. And I do believe his game is going to translate. I just do. I really do.
Yeah, what I love watching him, man, like he hit the ground. He's not scared. Jaden Ivey is not scared, man. I mean, we you know, coming out of college, he's a highly talented player coming out of college. It's different level in NBA, playing against NBA level players in Rico Hines. He came out looking to push. He came out aggressive. His shot got swatted. Okay, what do he do? Come right back. He's going to continue to come at your throat. And that's what I love about this kid. He's going to continue to press. He's going to, fourth quarter, he's going to continue to press. That's just all he knows. High motor guy. He's going to put pressure on the defense. He's going to cause gravity. That's what I love about him. You know what you're going to get from Jaden Ivey every night. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing from that kid.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if he takes the challenge seriously to lead the Pistons in free throws attempted. That's what I want to see him do. Really go out there, not necessarily hunt for it, but play with that high basketball IQ to where, you know, if it's there, it's there. Pump fake sometimes. I believe Jaden Ivey's game is the type that any little twitch he gives, if he just stops to think about it for a second, he's going to have a defender on skates or jumping or something of that nature because he's just so fast, man.
Yes.
I'm hoping he's not the type of player who's like hunting for his 3 to set it up or hunting for the foul to try and set up his game, but just playing it the right way. Like I actually like the way they used him in Summer League. If that can translate, oh my word, bro, because he was playmaking. He was getting to the rack. He had what? How many free throws? 6 free throws in that one game in like 11 minutes.
11 minutes.
Just always driving, like being. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be scary, man. I can't wait to see this team next year. Cannot
I'm
wait.
When is the opening day again?
What is it? October.
It's like middle of October, like
16th?
October.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like
19th.
the weekend I'm moving.
October 19th.
19th, because
man,
Jeff's birthday is the 20th. Yeah. I'm working on something, guys. I'm trying. We're
gonna do something, y'all.
Yeah, we might all be there, like in a row.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're at the very least doing a meetup. We're at the very least going to just say, hey, meet us before the game out in the concourse. Like at the very least.
We bless my our whole crew, man. Everything from the podcast, from Half Court, Table Talk. We're trying to make sure we bless everybody who's been really putting in a lot of work, man. So that's the push. And then you guys on the live, we definitely want you guys to show up. We're man, yeah. If anything, even outside the arena, if you don't even got tickets, bro, just show up for the culture of it.
Man, we need our own section. Our own section.
Dude, we need to have like a Pistons fan. Like I'm telling y'all, man. Like we could I could envision us going viral for the stuff we could do and coordinate, man. Like we're gonna have like a borderline cult in a few years. I'm looking forward to it.
He's saying a few years, like we haven't been working on it already for this
season. Oh no, I know. I'm just saying, like listen, man. Like
nah, bro. Look, man.
Cult, you have to look at it from like a long-term view. No, I'm just kidding.
Be on it.
Man, we've been talking to people, man. We getting some stuff. I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's why I say we just
somebody
we need a section.
Yeah.
I think we need a section too, Sean. I'm serious, bro. I'm so serious. Like the home opener might be really dope, man. I appreciate you guys. I wish there was more we could do for the viewers, and we are working on the Imagine Theater meetups. We got to do the watch parties again. We got to. I know Deuce, I think, was the only person on this panel who actually was got to go to the last one last year.
That was fun.
That was for the draft, and that was fun.
Lit.
It was fun. It was cool to interact with different Piston fans and different people who were just getting back into it. They were like, "Look, I ain't watched the Pistons, but hey, I'm here for this." So it was fun. We're trying to get it done. If we can, you guys will hear about it ASAP. I'm so serious.
But at the very least, we're gonna be doing meetups. We're at the very least, we're gonna want to see you guys at games at the very least. So just be on the lookout, man. Be on the lookout.
Well, somebody asked, I think it was Flavor Noble. He asked, what was Ivy's, to your point, Kool-Aid, Ivy's free throw percentage? I believe it was about 74%. And that's one of the things I would like to see him improve on. If he can get to 80, 81, 82%, that would be great. I could live with 80% because at the rate he's going to be getting to the hoop, that's going to be a lot of points that are up for grabs for him. So I think that's going to be something that he works on maybe this offseason and throughout his career to continue to gradually improve that. He gets to that level, it's going to be a good thing for him.
Yeah, and I feel like, man, I got to go back and get these numbers. I feel like his free throw percentage went up as the season went on.
It did.
But I have to go back and look at it. I remember when we did the breakdowns on him. That's what I feel like we had for Jade and Ivy. And I'm gonna get those numbers because that is important. I know as the season went on, he became a better player. All his stats were going up. His big game moments went up, and obviously he did his thing when he was in the tournament. Hey man, shout out Flagrant Elbow.
Yeah,
that's my guy. He puts out good stuff too, man. He's got great. Y'all check him out on YouTube, man. He's got a lot of great Pistons content, man. For sure, check him out.
For sure, I will.
Definitely one of our chat moderators as well. And we're gonna get him on here one day. We definitely will. He said, "Hey, I was like, look, we really want to be able to honor the people that really honor us, man. We really do. It's about a family thing here. If you're doing content out there, we want to get you on one of these table talks. That's what it's about." And he said, "Look, I'm just trying to get better. I like what y'all are doing. I'm learning, and one day maybe." So definitely, man. Shout out to Flagrant. Definitely
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out. Absolutely, man.
I got a question for everybody.
What to do?
Who's gonna make the biggest jump next season?
Hey,
man.
What do you guys think? I know that's a hard question. But that's a great question. It's a great problem to have, right?
Stewie.
Right.
Yeah.
Stewie. So and it's the person in the title. I think in terms of biggest jump, I think other people will take marginal jumps, marginal improvements, and it will be good for their development. But I think it's Beef Stew.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. He's been like a 9 and 8
I hope
guy.
so. I
If
just hope
he
it's like
just
a
gets
breakout.
to like 13 and 10 with a couple, close like 1.8 blocks a game, to me, that is a big improvement for him. Somebody who then is proving he can catch passes and get blocks. You know what I mean? There's some different things that seem to keep him just from getting there. Like, I don't know how he kept winding up missing double doubles, but I don't think we're gonna have that problem this year.
I know the Rico Hines footage, take that with a grain of salt. But if you watched him in that footage, the way he was shooting that thing, that boy has a clip, man.
Bro,
he has a clip.
Oh, one thing you can take away is the form. It looks amazing. Like as far as like if you're looking at the fundamentals and the mechanics of his shot, which is something that is something you can make a takeaway from. That looks good, absolutely. Man. Yeah, he's got a shot. Yep. He's got a hell of a release. So he's going to be a good shooter. Yeah. Now predicting his percentage based off of Rico Hines, I saw people are saying, man, he could be a high 30. I'm like, let's slow down a little bit. I'm not making judgments off of no Rico Hines footage.
Here's what was he last year?
I think he was about 33, I believe. If he can get to 35, that's good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's not going to be shooting 8-9 a game. So if he can knock down the open looks that he's going to get from guys who are getting him the ball like a Jaden Ivey, then I'm with that. I'm with that.
Just imagine 5 years from now, we're in a world where our offense is run with an Isaiah Stewart, Steph Curry model, where he's just chucking them up from like borderline half court.
Right.
You know what, man?
That's not going to happen.
Stu was 33% his first year. He only took about 0.6 threes a game. I got to see how many total that was because I just don't remember him taking threes like that. Yeah. But I do, you know what? His first year, I remember him taking enough that we were like, wait a second. In his second year, they let him take almost a few more threes per game, and his percentage actually went up. Again, look at the totals on the year. But that went up to 33% on 1 3-pointer a game. Now the Deuces.
So it's interesting. He actually, it's actually weird. Isaiah Stewart, he actually went down.
I'm sorry, down. Yeah, I'm looking at it in reverse. He went down 33%, and when the attempts went down, his percentage went down.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe like he really wasn't doing that much like in like the beginning or the middle of the year, just because I think he was like really like there wasn't really that like backup big. He was really having to just focus on like really just staying out on the floor defensively and not expending much energy on the offensive end. I think now that he has a guy like Jalen Duren and Nerlens Noel like backing him up, I think he has a little more liberty to like let it fly and like kind of expend more energy on the offensive end. So I think with that'll only make his attempts go up too. And he looks confident. So
yeah.
And I feel like his numbers 3-point wise might have been better in the second half of the season where he was actually looking for them rather than maybe first half where he was potentially getting the ball like at the end of a shot clock or something. Like that's why I want to dig into his month by month as well. I know on the Woodward Pistons podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit more about Isaiah Stewart this Wednesday, just trying to figure out who is he? What is he going to be? Like, I know we've seen several iterations. People were saying he was going to be baby Ben Wallace. I remember some people saying he was just the next coming of Jason Maxill, which no disrespect to Jason Maxill. I think that's disrespectful to Isaiah Stewart. I think his ceiling is a lot higher than that. But then he comes out and starts showing a 3-point shot. He starts showing this ability to defend on the perimeter, as well as not really losing his ability to defend in the paint. He's an interesting player to me. Really, really interesting. That I don't really know where to put him. I just believe that he's going to take that leap. I believe he's going to come out next year, not necessarily hunting for the threes like we saw in Rico Hines, but being serviceable to the point that they know we can run this set. He's going to be open. He's going to hit it. Like I believe that they're going to be able to do that type of stuff with him, and just those types of steps forward, maybe a 3 a game, a couple. If his footwork or anything in the paint or his mid range is better, just like 1 or 2 of those a game puts him easily at 10, 12, 13, 14 points a game, and
easy.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's grabbing rebounds next year. I really do.
It's funny. Sean J said Stu is Perkins that once played for the Pacers. Sam Perkins was a shooter, man. He was a big. If you guys remember, do your homework on Sam Perkins. He played for the Sonics and then he played for the Pacers. I don't know if Stu's gonna get to that level because Sam Perkins was a shooter. He could shoot the ball, but he wasn't defensively what Stu is. So if Stu can become something to the level of a Sam Perkins from the 3-point line, and he still has that level of defense that he can provide, scary hours.
All right, yo, I got the numbers here. Stu, pre-All-Star break, that boy was shooting 12.5% from 3-point. Seriously, he was shooting 0.1 out of 0.5 threes, bro. The post All-Star break, where we saw this team, like I said, kind of meddle with that 500, be about 3 or 4 under if you take Cade's missing games out and the games they put him out, they're at about 500. Post All-Star break, 54.5% on one three game, one 3-point attempt. So his 32%, it's not really indicative of what he's actually shown to be. His propensity. That's a lot. 54% on one 3-point attempt a game is a lot. That's what we were saying. Like, we want to know, can you be serviceable in this 1 or 2 plays? Because the five other times we run it, we need the defense to stay true to you or to bite on you or to think about, yo, this guy can hit a 3. Or when we fake the pass to you, they bite up and you can just slip back door. The same thing we saw doing in the summer league. You know, just talking basketball stuff. And that is huge.
And there's something to speak for confidence in guys looking for you to take shots. You know, when he wasn't shooting a lot, and that's why his percentage was so low. But going into the season, I have a feeling guys are going to be looking for him to take that shot.
70%
when he's open
in April, bro, on 2 attempts a game.
Yeah. So when guys are looking for you, that gives you confidence. And so I think next season he's going to have that confidence. No, okay, guys are going to be looking for me on this designed play, not a broken play. But guys are looking for me on this play, and I'm going to pull that trigger. That's it's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Lexi, what do you think, man? You got to get on with Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I really am excited for like Beef Stew this coming season because, you know, what you touched on a lot. But I want like Sadiq to like kind of come out swinging. I know I saw someone in the comments saying, oh, like I want him to be the lead scorer. I want him to like come out swinging because he is just like become a dog in this offseason and just, you know, his mentality, his like outlook on everything. I'm just so intrigued with it. I just am really looking forward to seeing how that translates. And I think he's going to come out and be like one of the best players on this team. That's why I'm hoping that it's just going to be shining through. And that's what I'm hoping for.
He looked confident in that. In those
thank you.
Like
he did. It was like, oh, give me it.
Yeah, for sure. You see that in and out against Steph, that in and out move against Steph that got him skating. That was he was the one guy that was coming down the floor. Okay. Like, I'm a bucket. He was the one coming down and creating his own shot, getting buckets. I think this year he's really looking to change that narrative of being just a 3-and-D guy. He's coming out on a mission this season, man.
Yeah,
like he wants to be the star, and I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here looking at all of our faces talking about the Pistons, thinking like if this was 10 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here smiling like this. Look at Sean.
Sad time.
Sean can't
2 years ago, we sitting here like,
man,
help me.
Right.
Like,
oh man, I can't even.
Instead of what the future holds.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like I can pinpoint too. It's like when we traded Chauncey, from that very moment, that from now and from then until now, that's what I just thought about in my head, like the bad years.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean because when Ben left, it was like, oh man, we still might have a chance maybe to contend to get to the conference finals, maybe. But once Chauncey left, it was like, all right.
It was like
over.
Once Chauncey left, it was like.
And Sean, what happened with Ben Wallace, bro? Sean, why didn't Ben Wallace come back? You gotta tell the people again.
Oh man,
the money.
How much
because
was
of
it?
$12 million.
Yep, from 48 to what, Sean?
From 48 to 60. It was the fifth year.
Less than what Reggie got. Huh?
Which
it was probably more than that.
Which, granted, even though Joe Dumars was kind of right in that, like 5 years at that point, you wouldn't have really been great in 2011. But like, still, you know, like Bring him back.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they wound up bringing him back anyway for a little bit.
Yeah,
they at
they
least
did.
had to, man. They had to
Salt and pepper Ben.
Yeah.
exactly. Oh.
Dang, well, that was terrible. But
No, I do miss those times though. Like when it was just automatic. Oh yeah, Pistons Eastern Conference. Like that's how it always was. I can't wait to get back to those days.
Yeah.
10 years from now. I was
go
gonna say
ahead.
10 years from now, we're gonna be reminiscing about this team the same way we did about that team, Lexi. So don't worry, it's coming back.
I just got goosebumps. I'm like, so excited.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Cade's. We're gonna talk about Cade's 8 NBA rings, is 7 MVP trophies.
Yeah, Dwayne, I agree.
4, not 5, not 6.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, the one year he lost was when Ivy won the MVP. When Cade let him take that year, you know. Yeah. No.
My man said, Dwayne said, lost the first game Iverson played in Detroit, knew it was over.
Oh,
Bro, that game felt so weird. Like we were on.
It was just dirty. It was like, I hated it.
But that was.
I never thought that I wouldn't be excited to have Iverson on his team. I'll never forget his interview when he first got it. He said, "Yeah, I want to help this team win a championship." And I'm just like, bruh, it ain't happening, bro. Like the only shot we had of that possibly happening was the guy that you got traded for.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Like a championship in like the company softball tournament. Like,
yeah, well, see, I can respect him now because it's like past those times. But like, I hated him back then. Like, I didn't like playing the Sixers and stuff. He was not one of my favorite players. I'll straight up say it. I can respect the talent now, and I loved his shoes and like was all about it afterwards. But it was just so past that point too. I was like, get off of my team.
Well, he was.
I enjoyed beating them in the playoffs in 2003.
Yes, yeah, me too.
When Tayshaun Prince like did that awkward back down like 10 times in a row to get them out of the freaking playoffs, dog, I was so happy, dog. So happy.
Yeah, remember that shot?
That little weird
game winner he hit, that game winner over Aaron McKee, that kind of like contorted in the air shot.
Yeah, that little
where he
I was like, get them out of here. Oh my god, Eric Snow out of here, bro. Oh, he was aggravating.
Out of here. Stand Eric Snow, man.
Who else did they have there, man? Skip that, man. I don't know about their team.
Man, they had Samuel Dallenberg, man.
Dallenberg.
Woo!
Yeah, that's
man. You don't know. You don't want to head downstairs when you got to deal with the Dallenberg. You know what I'm saying, people?
I ain't gonna lie. Iverson was pulling some trash teams, bro.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Iverson was pulling. Look, did he have some decent role players? I guess.
Yeah, he had like Kyle Korver. Listen. One of your best role players was a guy that was ultimately traded for a printer at the beginning of his career. That's just not a great sign. It's just not. And even as good of a 3-point shooter as he ended up being, when when one of your best role players is traded for a mother printer, that's just when you know.
Yep. Yeah, but which one of those old Pistons players, man, those guys that we traded for just to put out the pasture, what was it? There was Chris Webber, there was T-Mac.
Yeah, T-Mac.
We can still say I'm gonna say Josh Smith. He was past his time, bro.
Yeah, even McDyess, he still has something in the tank, but yeah, even McDyess, he had a 40, 44, 43-inch vertical in his prime.
Oh yeah,
when he came to us, right.
I feel like so many people like come here like past their prime, and it's like it's annoying. Stop.
Yeah,
that's what's so interesting about how Troy is putting together this team right now. And I mean, not just waiting. That's what I'm saying. Like, he got here 3 years ago. You know, they have how many draft picks in his time here? You know what I mean? It's not even like they have 6. They have like 7 or 8 from the first round, or 6 in the first round in his tenure in over 3 years. The second round picks, Isaiah Livers. Yeah, man. Like this team.
He literally just made that like happen out of the blue. Like he took like again with the roster he inherited. Yeah. How did he get those assets? I still have no clue.
No, bro, he's trading like unrestricted free agents.
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. Like, wait, bro. Somebody actually did business with you when they did not have to do business with you and gave up assets when they could have just signed a player.
Yeah.
What is Troy like? What is he doing?
He had to trade this offseason with a team that was like, hey, we really want that player you just drafted. He was like, no, but what I will do is you'll give me the big man I want, and you're also going to do another trade where you just literally give me 2 of your players and I give you nothing back. Deal?
That's right.
Okay.
Saying, bro.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
I don't know how he's doing this. He took a player that the Hornets let go, and Kimball Walker. He went and scooped him up, and now the Hornets are looking for a backup point guard. And guess who we have? Kimball Walker. So
and then that name pop up in their reports. Yeah, for their search. Man. That's what I'm saying. It's so crazy. Like Troy is probably already like, you know what? I got this Kimball Walker over here for you. I think he would look good in a Hornets uniform. I even hear he has a home in the area.
So, Kimball Walker, you're talking about. Speaking of former Pistons legends, one post that we made this past week on From Half Court, which, by the way, if you're not following From Half Court on social media, you should. A lot of really good content being posted there by my great social media manager, Narajan. And one of the things he posted this week was a great question, which was which former Piston would thrive today? First of all, the graphics clean, straight heat, straight fire. But also, it really makes me think, and I know like these are like the guys that like these are the greats, and these are all guys that would really come in and do damage in the league today. But you know, it was a guy that I thought of first. It was a guy that Kool-Aid just said. Tayshaun Prince would be a rich man in this NBA.
Yeah.
To stretch the floor, to defend as well as he could. Like people, like he did not get the recognition that he deserved. But I am telling you, if Tayshaun Prince played in this NBA, he would be a very rich man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah. He can play in any era.
Yeah, if we went without the, not picking some of the guys that we know, like Grant Hill, Isaiah, and all that. Yeah, I think Stackhouse would absolutely torch this era. Easy. I think he would score. Like if Donovan Mitchell was doing this at 6'1", what is Stackhouse doing, bro?
6'6". Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
Give Jerry Stackhouse Zach LaVine's volume.
Sheesh.
We've seen that before, and he popped off at 50. Give him that consistently where they're actually calling fouls. Like he played in an era where it wasn't like they were trying to give him foul calls.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in a Pistons jersey, in a teal Pistons jersey for at least a year.
Yeah.
He was second in points per game one season at 29. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, man. In this era when you can't even breathe on guys without getting called for a foul, come on, man. You would go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it, because you got guys like Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, who kind of similar type games to a degree. Stackhouse with the build, with the athleticism, man, with that just absolute. It wasn't that Stackhouse was just a scorer. Like if any guys remember seeing him play, put it in the comments, man, what you remember. It was that Stackhouse always, he never even looked like he was disrespected. He just was like, look, y'all gonna learn today. That's how he went out every game, and it was just, he was just scoring, going at guys and defending. Man, like I think Stackhouse would absolutely be an awesome player in today's NBA.
Yeah, agreed. Somebody mentioned the Mehmet Okur. I thought that was an interesting.
Memo, he would crush.
Talk about a stretch big. That would he would do well in the NBA today for sure. That would be massive.
The NBA was made for guys like him, but he had enough grit. He was a different guy than some of the ones that we see come over. I mean, well, today the guys we see coming from overseas, they got grit, man. They're banging. Like I see Jokic, he's not backing down from nobody. Hopefully Killian can get whatever they're drinking so that he can get that confidence up and everything. But Memo, he was tough, bro. Can
you imagine if Richard Hamilton played in a league that encouraged him to shoot more threes? Like
that's a great point, because
we don't think about the fact that because we're talking about guys that thrive in the modern league. Richard Hamilton was a guy that was able to put up 20 plus, but he wasn't shooting all the time from beyond the arc, even though he could, and he has a great shot. He was pulling up a lot of mid-range shots. If he was playing in the modern league, he'd probably be averaging at least 5 to 6 threes a game. He'd probably be like a Bradley Beal type guy, where he'd be like he could be one of the leading scorers in the league.
Yeah.
And if you remember, when we got Flip Saunders, his volume went up, and he was knocking him down at the same rate that he was when he was shooting less. So it wasn't like he couldn't shoot him. It just wasn't encouraged as much because of the offense. But when we got Flip Saunders, he was knocking them things down with ease.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and shout out to Ryan P, man. We definitely appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Means a lot, man.
This community that
Yeah.
really continues to draw us back. We face a lot of things every week, every day, and it's just like, you know what? Let's get on here, man, and just forget those things for this hour or whatever. Like, we come on here sometimes like, yo, we're gonna do this for half hour, 45 minutes, and we look up and it's like an hour with you guys, and then after like 30 minutes with our guys. So it's awesome. I know Ryan asked a question as well. I'm gonna definitely get back to his question.
So he asked, do you believe this team is talented enough to someday be as good as the 04 team that got a title and contended half a decade plus? So great question. I definitely think this team, from a talent standpoint, already has a higher ceiling than that team just from the talent alone.
Yeah.
Because that 04 team was great, not because of on paper, but because of the intangibles that made that team great.
It's a great point.
So they in my opinion, like, they have the talent, like they already have like the talent above that team. Now here's the second piece of your question of where they got a title and contended half a decade plus. Here's what makes that complicated in the modern NBA. Because in 04, guys generally signed to teams, they stuck to their teams. You maybe saw some trades happen, and if they happened, it was because the teams were deciding that they were going to make those moves. But in the modern NBA, with the player empowerment era, with the player mobility era, we just saw today Donovan Mitchell got traded to Cleveland. That was insanely unexpected. I thought he was going to New York. Like, in this day's league, you can truly not say anything for a fact. So, like, the Pistons, for all we know, they could be building up a program that could last for a long time. But also, like, these teams that we've seen, like, where like the Warriors, for example, where they've had continued success for years, like, they're not the expectation. They're the exception. Like, they're the anomaly. So I think when we're looking at like what it would take for this team to like it's one thing to be great. It's another thing to sustain greatness. So those are the things that are going to be in their way. However,
I agree.
They still got Troy Weaver.
There you go.
And another thing is, even if Troy Weaver isn't at the helm, another thing the Pistons did this offseason that shows you that they're very confident in what they're building in the long term was promoting Rob Murphy to his assistant GM spot, showing that they have that guy in the wing, that potential guy to replace and step up for Troy one day, but also showing that they're building a program. They're building something. So it really can be sustainable. It might not have to be dependent on the players we have right now even. So that's the thing, man.
It doesn't have to be dependent on who we have right now, because we've seen that Troy can flip things quickly. But if you look at what he's doing, it looks like he's bringing a little bit of that OKC, and I like to kind of liken it more to Golden State flavor, where you have some mainstays that are not just good players, but perennial all-stars. And when you look at the makeup of this team, they do have some guys. Now, we know we can't sign everybody back, but if they can get 2 or 3 of these guys to pan out, they will be a team that will just have to look to make some tweaks year in and year out, rather than having to go out and overhaul the roster to try and stay ahead, like Cleveland. I believe they made this move because they believed they were going to take a step back if they didn't. The East got better. How much do you believe in their guys who went from 22 wins to over 40 wins? How much do you believe in them? Or do you go and get a guy that you know, at the very least, he's popping off for a quarter of 100 points every single night and putting pressure on defenses every single night? Like, you're getting this. It's not a guess. It's not a wonder. And he's putting in, as much as we talk about his facilitation, he's getting 5 assists, 6 rebounds, which means he's getting scrappy for a 6'1" guard. Like, seriously. So, man.
I think that's a great question. I think, like, if you could keep your 3 or 4 core, like you mentioned Golden State, Kool-Aid. If you can keep Sean, you can keep your 3 or 4 core, Clay, Steph, Draymond, those guys, they never want to go anywhere. Many times you would hear those guys in trade rumors and who's going to get traded, and they wanted to be there because, first of all, they were homegrown, they loved the culture, they embodied the city, and they were winning. If you have all those things combined, you can keep your core guys together. You may need to get some complementary guys to come in and out, but if you can keep those 3 or 4 guys together, or 2 or 3 guys together, that can definitely happen where you can contend for half a decade. Sure.
But that's the key, because even though like you have a lot of guys right now that are excited to be in Detroit, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
You have guys right now that are talking about how they want to be in Detroit for a long time, which is a really good thing. But guys, let's be honest here. The reality of the NBA is that the vast majority of the time, a way a player feels about a team when they're drafted is not always how they feel about a team when they're at the end of their tenure, right? That's just how this thing works. I'm not saying that's what I'm expecting to happen. I'm not saying that we need to have this built-in fear that Cade or Ivy or any of these guys might want to request a trade someday. But like what it does say is in this league, the reality is at some point you need to start winning some games and there needs to be results that are shown because there needs to be reasons for guys to stay bought in, to stay invested, and to stay wanting to play because you've seen teams stay complacent and not build around their guys. And you've seen guys like LeBron who started the player empowerment and the player mobility era because they were complacent, because they didn't build. However, we've seen Troy Weaver. He's been aggressive in his rebuild from day one. So he's not going to be complacent. We know that. So I think that's the key is just, you want them I want to see these guys stay on the Pistons for their entire career, but I know there's a lot of things that have to go right in order for that to happen. That's just the reality.
For sure. I agree, Sean. That's why I went back to Golden. Go ahead, Kool-Aid.
You going, bro? No, I just got a question.
Okay. I was just going to say, that's why I went back to Golden State because those guys won.
Exactly.
If those guys weren't winning championships, I don't know if Steph Curry, because you got to think about this too. These guys are at some point start thinking about legacy. They think about their own legacy. How am I going to be remembered? Am I going to have rings? So those guys were able to obtain that and to sustain that. If they didn't have that there, those guys could have been looking to move elsewhere.
Yeah. And we know Cade wants to be one of the best in the league. And we know that Troy Weaver wants to build this around him and wants to put him in the best position to succeed and win in the long term in Detroit. But the reality is, in order to keep Cade wanting to do that and to build that in Detroit, we got to win games. That's just how it works, man. So,
what's your question, Kool-Aid?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what 3 players do you believe will be here long term out of this young core?
I will say, I know I just said all that. I'm pretty confident. I listen, unless something drastic happens, I think Cade's one of those guys. I could really see him being in a Piston. I know I just said all that, but like, listen, dude, like just the energy we got going right now, the momentum we keep having. Listen, and a lot of this is just confidence and like, listen, I'm one of those guys that when I firmly believe in whoever's in that front office chair, to me, the sky's the limit. When at a certain point, you can just tell when that guy who's calling the shots is a bad man. And Troy Weaver is a bad man. So it's one of those realities where like this could really keep being a thing for a while, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. That's a great question, man. Go ahead, Lexi.
I hope that just Cade is, he's only wears a Piston jersey just so we can always claim him as ours,
Yeah.
So.
Yep, and only a Pistons jersey. Like, don't let him go. Even when the contract don't make sense, it doesn't matter. He's
I don't care.
Give him the Kobe contract.
Bro, you done to pass some levels where he's just there. Like he's like, yo, how old are you? I'm 43. Hey, you know what? Hold down the end of the bench, Cade. Straight up, man. But yeah, let us know, man. Let us know. I know a lot of people gonna say what I'm seeing here, Bay, Cade, and Ivy. That is a tough one because you wanted to be those 3. I mean,
it's just you haven't seen Ivy play yet, so it's hard to say. However, I will say, after I watched that opening press conference where they gave him the jerseys of his grandfather, of his mother, of his father in high school, like that, you don't have that connection with the franchise day one.
Yeah,
like
there's too many ties deep. I think that he, in his eyes, he wants to be here for life. So I mean, gosh, if we could get Jaden and Cade like for lifers, like okay,
I'll
take it all day.
That's a great question. I think Troy's really going to use the experience he got as assistant GM with OKC because they draft very well. They drafted very well, but they weren't able to keep all those guys. They started moving one by one.
It's all got to come to an end. You can't have, all these all-stars in one team.
But here's what I will say though, like when you're looking at like, all right, like all these guys, like you said, like all good things come to an end. And like at a certain point, guys are going to be traded. That's just how it is. Someone's going to be moved at some point. But like, I know people are saying, well, if you have to give up Sadiq to go get a to me, even though like you're saying like 3 players, like I could see, Duran, like we still have to see a whole lot from him. But I could definitely see him being in Detroit for a long time. Isaiah Stewart, I don't see him, like he's one of those guys like Draymond where it's like that just feels like a guy that just fits Detroit.
Just fits.
It just works, So and for me, like even though like Sadiq would have to be a chip probably in a big trade package, to me, like it would, like just knowing how much Troy Weaver loves guys with hard work ethic and guys that are high character, guys that you want to have in your locker room, it would have to be a pretty special name in my opinion for Troy Weaver to part with Sadiq Bey in a trade, because they've talked about how like even like Troy Weaver's talked about how that is the hardest working player he's ever had on his team. Like that is like they have to tell him they had to tell him to get a hobby.
Yeah.
Like when your player development is to go do something else, that means you're committed. And that you don't trade those guys for just anybody.
Yeah, especially when they have the durability of playing 82 games a season. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You got to keep that in mind too. Go ahead, Kool-Aid.
No, I was gonna say I always think it's funny when I see Sadiq Bey's name just brought up in people's like other fans trade scenarios, and it's like, what do you think Sadiq Bey is? Like, because realistically, I know what we're saying about Cade, but Sadiq Bey being our second best player next year is because he's really allowing that to be the case. We've seen Sadiq Bey go out there and he could be a number one. He could go out there and hunt to be a number one type scorer. What I see him being on this team is somebody who is not just filling a role or a position, but doing what he has to do to make sure this team can be as good as it can be. And that's why I want the wins. I want this team to get some wins next year because I want their hard work. I want their dedication. I want their talent and their skill to get paid off, man. I just do. I do. Yeah. I like you said, Sadiq Bey is playing all 82. He's being told by the organization, bro, go chill. And even when he does that in the most just productive way. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait,
you go pick up hiking and also do high altitude training.
So I said, chill. You went and did high altitude hiking to clear your mind. What?
Yeah.
Bro, I try to hike and it's just like, hey, that's more power.
The things that he was doing when they told him to calm down is what you would expect somebody to tell him to.
Can you imagine that type of player go? Like, I just keep sitting here thinking, like, I get it. If he's in there for to sweeten the deal for a trade, chip, but like, what player would that be? It would have to be like an absolute, like.
That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, it would have to be a trade. It'd have to be a trade that trading Sadiq Bey would feel like a win. And those trades are going to be few and far between. That's just the way it is. However, if anyone would find it, if it was out there, it'd be Troy.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, you're West, man. I think it's time to call it a wrap. But, bro, do you want to answer this on the screen?
Listen, first of all, these aren't the Cade shades. These are buffs. And listen, not only did Cade buff up, we saw Ivy buff up.
Yeah.
The team is buffing up. The city is buffing up. We buffing up.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You gotta get a pair, okay?
We are bringing
Come on, Lexi. Come on.
Listen, I'm telling you, these were
first
cheap.
Home game.
These are you can find these, like, I'm telling you.
I got a lot of money. I'm moving soon, so I'm trying to say.
But seriously though, the reason why is because the team's buffed up, Detroit's buffed up, we're buffed up, man, and that's the energy.
Guys, that's what it is.
That's the vibes we're bringing this season, man, and that's what we're doing each and every week when we're hopping on this table talk, man.
That's fine.
I love Dwayne.
It's a Detroit thing, man. That's exactly. I couldn't have said it any better. I said all that. The real truth is, it's a Detroit thing, man. And with that, that's what we're all about here on We're Pistons Table Talk, man. We're repping the city of Detroit. We're repping our teams. We're repping our people. We're repping our community, man. Exactly.
Come on, Jacket Tail, get you a pair, baby.
Exactly,
I like
man.
that. I like that.
We all got to get buffed up, man. 100%. But seriously though, be sure not only be sure you're buffing up, which you can find some for pretty cheap. You can do something for absolutely free. and that's subscribe to Woodward Pistons right
Hey,
down
that's
below and
That's
hit
right,
that
right.
like button so that more
Appreciate
Pistons
y'all.
fans just like you can find the content like this. Also, I've heard some rumors that there's a pretty cool channel called From Half Court that you should go check out. These guys
I
are telling
heard
me
of that.
I should be more shameless about I should be more free to plug it. So I'm calling that I'm going to be more shameless. Subscribe to From Half Court, man. But seriously, be sure you're also following all these awesome people that we have here on the Table Talk in our guy like Downtown Deuce in the bottom left corner with Destination Restoration and all the other awesome Woodward Pistons mixtape stuff coming on the horizon with Lexi, who's doing all the awesome stuff with Michigan football starting up this week.
Praise
Man.
Jesus, we are here. Like,
Can't wait.
sure.
We've been itching.
So
it is
that,
Christmas time.
this is the prime time to be going to Lexi's Twitter at GoBlueLexi117, going and following everything that she's doing, going and checking out her podcast so that you are up to date on everything Michigan football, everything going on this season. Lexi, tell people about your pod again real quick, please. And
Yeah, on Stadium Boulevard. It's on Blue by 90, presented by Blue by 90 on blueby90.com. And then I'm also doing a lot of teasers and betting for Multiplicity Media. I'm actually just in the middle of watching this West Virginia game that I have as a leg on one of my teasers. So I'm like praying, but follow along. Follow me on Twitter, GoBlueLexi117. And let's win some money this season. Let's talk some Michigan football. Let's talk some NFL. I do a Weekenders podcast as well on Multiplicity Media. So, once a week on multiple channels, you can find me. So,
and she's absolutely killing it, man. We're listen.
It's overwhelming right now, but it's like, all right, we're
Hey, we're gonna have fun with it. And last but not least, be sure you're following my guy on the left of me here. The mob boss, the godfather, the founder, the leader of Woodward Pistons, my guy, Detroit Kool-Aid, the hardest working man in the business, my boy. Always love you, Kool-Aid.
All you
always
guys,
appreciate
man.
you, my
Everybody's
guy.
working hard. Everybody is. And that's what makes this. That's what makes
right,
it fun.
Dwayne. Let's go blue.
Let's go. Hey, Johnny West, man, do something special for us while we close this out.
Yeah.
Hey there, baby.
There we
Welcome to the Naval Dog. Hey, seriously, man, we want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. I promise y'all, we have some special stuff planned this season.
Appreciate you.
Please sure you're subscribing. Please add to the Get Sean to Detroit fund by going and watching From Half Court videos. And seriously, man, I am telling y'all, you do not want to miss any of our content coming up this season. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Yo, Deuce.
My bad. Really quickly, let's shout out to Carl Collins too.
Yeah,
man.
that's right, man. What was I thinking?
Bro.
Carl Collins.
Gotta give Carl some love. Woodward Pistons family, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Carl in the comments. He's always up with us normally. I miss your beautiful face, Carl. I'm gonna see you this season. I'm gonna hug you so hard and no, but in all seriousness, Carl's a dude, man. And honestly,
Carl, blink twice.
Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. That Lions hype up video that Carl made, that did something to me, man.
I'm not kidding. I was like about to bust through a wall at 8 a.m.
Yeah, man.
We got some stuff. Now we're gonna get together. We're gonna get some information out about this Destination Restoration, man.
You mean
Destination
Restoration? Destination Restoration.
Hey,
I like it.
Guys,
Stay tuned.
Distance basketball is in. It's literally next month.
Yeah, month
33 days.
Starts in a couple weeks.
33 days.
Nice.
Can't wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you guys
Love y'all.
next week on
See you
Woodward Pistons
guys.
Table Talk. Catch y'all later, ladies and gentlemen.
Trevor, everybody, baby.
Let's go.
Go blue.